if racism is embedded, like you said, in the fibers of our making of this country, do we want to get rid of it? Like, do we want to tell our kids how to identify what racism is? What do you think?
You got challenges that you're going to run across.
I saw this on YouTube probably about 3 months ago, and it kind of made sense. It was interesting that the lady was talking. I'm sure you've heard it, where she was talking about if we start taking policies out on these younger guys in the hood, so all the killings they got in the hood, and even the cops that's doing the killings, these insurance companies are gonna say, wait a minute, I'm paying out too much doggone money here. Y'all gonna have to do something about that. You're gonna have to stop the killing, black on black. You're gonna stop the cops killing, because it's just too much money that I gotta pay out. And so the powers to be would step in if we had policies and people had policies on these young kids. That would stop a lot of it. What do you think about it?
I definitely agree. I heard a topic of conversation on it as well. It was like the system would not want to put out all that money to pay the insurance carriers, or the insurance carriers would want to dish out all this money, because now the government has to have some control and responsibility over, because those lives are covered by the insurance companies.
Right.
But it's like, who's going to enforce that? That's great. I really wish it was a requirement. I wish that the moment a child was born and a social security number was issued, a whole life policy was split over to that mother. Sign on this line. This is the amount. It should be automatic.
Right.
Because death is like,
right.
It's not an age limit. It's not a certain area of where you live. It's not. It's anywhere, anything can happen. Just like you said, the guy was laying in the middle of the street. I'm sure he did not say like, I'm going to go right here.
Yeah.
But so much is happening, whether it's a car accident, heart attack, stroke, not living healthy, not taking care of yourself. We got different drugs nowadays. Children are exposed to a lot of things. Like, why wouldn't you do the minimum to invest in your child instead of making it like, we'll invest in, like you said, in clothes and shoes and materialistic things, but the investment is long term. What's going to stay with them?
Yeah.
So in some kind of way, the thought process should be talked about. I can't say enforced, because we would collectively as a people have to enforce it, but I think if more conversation was put on it, if it was made more of a focal point, like a lot of other things are, then more people would probably get that light to come on, like, I'm missing something.
Right.
Why don't I have it?
Yeah, exactly. And I think it just needs, well, I don't say just needs, because it's a lot of things that need to be done to get people to wake up, not just on this, but it's a lot of other things. So, but let's move to the next topic, Val. Let's see the other video now this guy here, I tell you, and I'm going to tell you about the podcast when it come back, but this guy here is a lightning rod, and people, but he's a firecracker. So sometimes he's bringing a lot of good stuff, and then sometimes he's not. But I really like what he's talking about on this clip. So let's see that, Valerie.
It's hard. If you're not black, you're not going to feel it, and you're going to see it, but you're going to deny it. We're the only ones that can feel it, because we're on the receiving end of it. We're the only ones that can feel it. They can see it, but because certain privileges they have, it muddies the water for them to see it, because racism is hidden now. It used to be blatant. No colors allowed, whites only. But now it's like this carpet. We can't see all the fiber in this carpet. That's racism. It's embedded in the fabric of this country. It's in the bank loans when we don't get to see who tell us no on the bank loan.
There it is.
It's in this zip code when we don't know the median average of the income in this zip code. We don't know who all got diabetes, high blood in this particular zip code. Yep. We don't know all the young people that's catching this one particular. That's racism. We can't see it, because capitalism have come along and is pushing racism out. It's just that we ain't died yet, the ones who know racism. Our kids don't know it. They don't know what it looked like. They don't even know how to identify it. They know classism, rich, poor. But racism will still exist, even when it's classism, even when it's capitalism, because this country was built on racism. It's embedded in the fabric of it.
Literally. Yeah.
That's why certain races got hate bills and we don't, because racism still matters. That's why Asians have a hate bill, and there's no bill for somebody to say, I'm finna go kill a bunch of black people like they did in Jacksonville. That was a hate crime, but it wasn't identified as a hate crime. It was identified as a mental illness crime. Dylan Roof, man, so we're the receivers of it, so other people can't see it. It looked like we're just complaining and making it up.
Do you think reverse racism is
we don't have no power to reverse it. We don't have a bank where we can deny a white person a loan. We don't set the credit rating scores for the FICA scores. We don't control the school districts, because the school district is where racism is bred and indoctrinated and taught.
All right, so that's the Danza Project podcast. It's a great podcast. I watch it a lot. I'm subscribed to it, and I saw that, and I said he really went on and on. But I just wanted to get that clip there so we can talk about it. So, what's your opinion on that, Tawana?
Before my opinion, I guess my question is, if racism is embedded, like you said, in the fibers of our making of this country, do we want to get rid of it? Like, do we want to tell our kids how to identify what racism is? What do you think?
Do we want to tell our kids how to identify what racism is?
Because like
but see, now what you're saying is you're saying kind of like what the Caucasians are saying. Let's just whitewash all this. Let's just push it aside. Don't put it in the books. Don't talk about it. That's a long time ago, as if it's not still happening. So
we can't whitewash it though. I mean, like
they're trying to take it out of all the books. They're trying to get rid of all the books. So,
But by them getting rid of it, it's just our younger people won't be able to identify like we had the means to identify. But that doesn't mean there aren't other ways that they can educate themselves on what it is. But the only way they would have the knowledge or will to even want to know about racism is somebody got to talk about it. Someone has to point it out. Somebody has to make it obvious.
Okay, so you're saying when you see it, because you, like he said, you know what racism is.
Right.
You're saying when you see that and it happens to your child, you don't tell them?
I do.
Okay, but what were you saying then?
I'm saying, like, if based on what he said,
right.
If it's embedded,
it is.
Do we just continue to keep telling our children how to identify what racism is, since it's not going anywhere? Or do we just allow the system to do what it's doing and attempt to remove it or clear it out?
Well, okay, I got you. Now, yeah, I mean, you can't. You're not going to be able to. It's in the fiber, like the carpet, he said. So it ain't going to change until, like he said, till those people die. And all of them have to die off, and then hopefully it will. But yeah, I think you should explain every time a situation happens, because, a lot of things in the younger generation now, I think hip hop has done more for racism than Martin Luther King did. You know what I'm saying? It's like you got them listening to that music, and now they're looking at us differently, not like their parents did. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, they're following a lot of, black folks. They're doing the same thing, and the parents didn't do that. So I think that has helped. But then hip hop also has messed up our community too. So, you know what I'm saying? So I don't, that's like, I don't know, that's a blessing and a curse almost, with that, because, we could talk about that all day long, but, it's embedded and it's here, and it's I don't see and it's amazing how a lot of people say, well, it's not there anymore. You need to just pull your pants up and just go and make it happen. Yeah, that's true. We all have to do that. We all have to go to work and make it happen. But it's a lot of things that's been passed on through generations that has been embedded in our system that, you know, it's systemic. That it's a lot of things that happen that you wonder why, you know, they say, well, you know, now, you know, it ain't like that. So just go make it happen. But think about the generations of free labor they had that made these people wealthy. Mm-hmm. And so now their generations have passed it down through generations from the free labor. And so now they're looking at us like, well, go make it happen. Yeah, we got to go make it happen. But the reason you all are making it happen came from those years of free labor. You know, I'm not saying everybody, but it's just kind of hard to, when I listen to people who say, well, racism is over with, or they say, well, I ain't got nothing to do with me. I didn't do anything. That was people a while back. That didn't have anything to do with me.
I don't think racism, even though you said it, those people would have to die off. It will never die off. I don't think. Because if they're racist, they have other races under them. They are sharing some form of their level of how to treat people differently. So that generationally, it will continue. It will never die off. I don't think.
So tell me something that you experienced in your lifetime that you knew was blatant, but somebody maybe didn't see it. You know, because a lot of times, like when the clip came on, he said, we're the only one can feel it. They can't feel it. You know what I'm saying? They're looking around like, you know, why you tripping like that? And, you know, it's like, I'll tell you this, the other day, I was in what was that? Virginia. I was in South Carolina, I think, somewhere, North Carolina. And I was leaving a meeting and I was walking with a Caucasian lady, just walking down the street. Now, she didn't feel the looks that I was getting, but I did. I knew, looking at the people and what they would, you know, the little smirks they were putting, because, you know, I didn't bring it up to her because I'm sure she didn't pick it up. But we were just walking down the street. But I saw it, you know what I'm saying? So these things that it's almost like how people say, just be in my shoes for a day and walk into a department store and see how different you are looked at, and see how different, or go into a bank and talk to people in the bank about certain things and see how you are, how people react to you in the bank compared to, you know, changing your color. You walk in my shoes for a day, you know. So that part we agree is not going to change, but I guess my biggest issue is how a lot of people don't see it, because, you know, how he said they don't feel it because they're not in our shoes. And so, you know, you get around people that are Caucasians and you have a relationship with them and they say, well, Tony, I don't see what you're seeing. This whole world has changed now. It's not like it was then. Well, it wasn't like that. But it ain't, it still ain't going away. You know what I'm saying? You know, can you think of one thing that you experienced that you thought about when it happened?
I had a personal experience when I was in the military, which is one that will probably stick with me the longest.
Make sure that you like and subscribe and hit the all button and all that kind of stuff, because we're going to have a lot of good interviews on this podcast.